This is being filmed at the same time that I'm supposed to be out back chopping up all that wood. But I'm not getting anything done because I need to clear around the cabin because I'm making way for the bulldozer to do what it needs to do as it grades the property for the rock delivery that'll be happening here in the next couple of days. No, this has a flat tire and it's coming off the rim. So this isn't gonna work. I thought I was just gonna use a hand truck to move these big rolls. They're about 175 pounds, so to scoot them is one thing, to lift them is another. But unfortunately my dolly has a flat tire, so on to plan B. All right, well, we could always just roll them. We could honestly just So this is plan B, is just to roll these out of the way because I can't lift these even with my friend's help. Oh, and I found a ton of plate glass here in front of the cabin in the dirt. I already picked it all up, or most of it anyhow. Keep Kenai from stepping on it. All right, back to work. So the bulldozer uncovered a nest of bunnies, and this is one of the little babies. I'm afraid to touch them because they have ticks that cause tularemia. I did see another rabbit the other day running around the yard. This is the first season I've seen bunnies on the property. So Bunny's not dead, just in shock. But it makes me wonder how many more bunnies are nesting in the log pile there. Poor little babies. So the bunnies were nesting in these trees that have been here for the last couple of years, but I am kind of sad that there were bunnies in here and we disturbed their nest, but that happens. And for all of you who are going to say the bunnies were there first, the bears were there first, why don't you complain about the mosquitoes I'm killing? Just saying. By late afternoon, smoke had moved in, blanketing the Wrangell Mountains behind my cabin, obscuring them almost completely from view. Fire season in Alaska this year started early, with intense and significant fire activity beginning mid-June. Specifically, the Bear Creek Fire, one of the largest, which was discovered on June 19th and was caused by a suspected lightning strike. The fire season was exacerbated by a combination of dry conditions and hot, thundery weather patterns that created prime conditions for ignition. As I mentioned, the weather here has been extremely hot. The day that I was chopping firewood, it got up to 88 degrees in the Copper River Basin. Wildfire activity exploded across the interior of Alaska with red flag warnings and the state's first ever heat advisory. A red flag warning signifies that critical fire weather conditions are either present or will be shortly. This means that strong winds, low humidity, and dry fuels combine to create an environment where wildfires can easily ignite and spread rapidly. Over the past week, Alaska has experienced a significant number of lightning strikes, which caused many of the fires throughout the state, with more than 40,000 strikes reported. This has resulted in numerous wildfires, particularly in the interior region, where over 12,000 strikes were reported in a single day. The high number of strikes is attributed to the ongoing warmth and thunderstorms. These thunderstorms pose a major risk to the interior of Alaska, and while many thunderstorms do produce rain, the rains here are not significant enough to put out the fires. They might slow the spread, but they do little to actually stop them. Many of the areas in Alaska have experienced evacuations, such as Tok, Fairbanks, and the Denali Borough. And I, for one, along with many others in Alaska, do want to put out a very sincere thank you to all the firefighters out there that are putting themselves at risk to put out these fires and to protect any structures that are in their path. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, the coolest time of the day. The temperature is about 60 degrees out right now. I'm having rock delivered today, and I still have to put all this geotextile fabric down on the driveway in order to get the rock delivered. It has been way too hot here to do anything during the daytime, as you may have seen in my last videos. We went to bed super early last night and got up early this morning. My friend is still here visiting from Colorado. Come here, Kenai. Come here. And so we are going to get busy this morning and get all of these rolls of geotextile fabric down, hopefully in time before the rock truck delivery driver shows up. Well, you can see the beautiful sunrise behind me. I saw the moon for the first time in a long time this morning. That's a good sign. Today is the 20th of June, so tomorrow's the longest day of the year. And as soon as this is done, we're going fishing. So my contractor who did all the grading of the property, who also happens to be a good friend of mine, told us that we need to go kick rocks. Basically, he was telling us we need to get all the big rocks out of the way of the bulldozer. So the reason my contractor told me to go kick rocks is because big rocks like this get caught up in the blade of the bulldozer, and then they wind up creating these channels, which it might be a little hard to see on screen, but here you can see I'm following it along, and they just are creating these giant divots in the driveway. And he's trying to, smooth the driveway out, not add in more ruts. Here's another great example of two rocks that have created a channel in the driveway. So that's why he told us go kick rocks. Funny part is, he told me to kick rocks. I'm going to tell him to pound sand later. Well, we decided to ignore him pretty much because we're putting rock down, but we do still have to kick something. So we decided these rolls are easier to kick than to move them any other way. When we moved them the other day, I did it basically on my hands and knees because otherwise I was afraid I would fall flat on my face. So right now we're trying to move this to behind the bunkhouse to lay down the first roll. We got a hole in the ground that we got to fill in first. You can see my friend standing in what was going to be the hole for the outhouse, for the bunkhouse, but we decided to move the outhouse. My contractor and I decided that that's not a good place for the outhouse, after all, because that's where water is going to drain to. So he filled it in, but now I need to put some more additional dirt in there, so I'm off to get a shovel. I put a ton of mosquito spray on here, and the mosquitoes were not really bugging us until just now. And now there's like literally a swarm around me. If I had one of my little rackets out here, you could hear it. Beep, 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 beep. Blap, blap, blap. As I like to call them, Alaskan fireworks. Because, it doesn't get dark here at night in the summertime. But you can definitely see that racket sparking on all the mosquitoes. But we did both put a bunch of spray on. I might need to go get my mosquito net. Just like my friend has on. She's a lot smarter than I am, I think. Now I'm kind of second guessing us filling this in more because, as I mentioned, this used to be the hole for what was going to be the outhouse for or yeah, the outhouse for the bunkhouse. The land slopes to here, which is again where all the water is going to drain from the driveway. However, the land is still sloping this direction, and this hole will sink again because, you know, there's no way me standing on it is going to compact it enough. So I'm not having too many regrets here. Hopefully it's still doing what it was intended to do, which is provide a place for the water to drain to that is out of the way and not going to create flooding for the rest of the driveway. With that being said, though, we need to get rolling. Back to doing it the easy way. I promise you, the whole video is not going to be us rolling down fabric. But doing the first one is a good test of how much time it's going to take, how difficult it's going to be. Plus, moving the camera around a bunch of times is taking up time. So after this, I might just set a time lapse. But I wanted to show how curved it is coming back here from where we originally started. So we're going to go to the other end. We're going to adjust this out and then lay down another piece here to fill in the gap between the back of the bunkhouse and the fabric itself. This does not have to be perfectly flat, but I don't want any bunched up areas because the rock truck is going to be driving over this, potentially the bulldozer. Who knows? Either way, I don't want it bunched up. We are going to come back in with some staples, long staples, to tack this into place every couple 3 to 5 feet, multiple places across, and definitely on the ends and sides to keep it in place before the rock gets dropped on top of it. However, I got a long way to go. And then on to 8 or 6, 7 more rolls. Oh my God. After taking a mosquito, look at that bite. Look at that. I took a mosquito up the nose. So after that, the mosquito netting is going on and the camera's going on time lapse. So we'll see how long it takes us to get this done. I don't know what time it is right now because I don't have my other phone. Stand by. I have to shut the camera off entirely to see the time. So nonetheless, it was 3 o'clock when we started. We'll let you know what time we get done. So this hat has this weird bungee thing on the inside. That's what was tripping me up. Oh, this goes over your shoulders. Ha-ha. Genius. This will hold it down as soon as I can find the other shoulder strappy thing. All right. It's like a beekeeper's hat, but nonetheless, hopefully it keeps the mosquitoes off of me. This area right here in front of the outhouse, as well as in front of the original woodshed, has always been a lake come spring. And I debated about whether or not to put rock down here, but ultimately I think I'm going to be happier with it. In the wintertime, when I'm taking wood out of there, I'm sledding it across, so it won't matter. I rarely am I taking the gorilla cart in and out of the woodshed, But nonetheless, I'm going to roll fabric out here all the way to the little drive that you can see off to the side of me here that's leading to the back of the property. The back of the property will be done at a later time. However, this all needs to get done today. Perfect. So as you can see, the mosquito net did not last very long because I could not see through it. So off it came just as quickly as it went on. I'll just have to deal with the mosquitoes. But I do have tons of mosquito spray on still. So, and hopefully no more wind up my nose because that was not pleasant. There you go.
It was at this moment that she knew that she messed up.
Well, the sun is just now cresting over the mountains. So I think it's like, it can't be 3. I don't know. Sunrise is like 3 in the morning, I thought. I don't know. Anyhow, it's sunrise and we are about half done. So we're doing good. So this piece that we're laying in here now was cut from a strip that we laid down earlier and then figured out we didn't need it because the pieces going over in front of the circle garden between the cabin actually covered up the space we were trying to cover up originally. So it worked out for us to lay it in here. I'm just going to take my knife and cut out around the openings for the beams that are supporting the awning of the cabin. And then this excess we'll use someplace else. But in the meantime, I'm sure YouTube's going to insert a commercial break right here as we're going to take a quick break and bring over some new rolls to finish out the rest of this area that I'm standing in. Speaking of commercials, I no longer have any control over where the commercials get placed or how many commercials there are. So if you're getting a ton of commercials, that's YouTube's new program. It's not mine, so I do apologize if they're a bit much. But it's outside of my control. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back in just one moment. Don't go anywhere. So I went ahead and cut around each one of the poles and the little porch steps right there. But as we got over here, there's a big mound of dirt that we're going to level out. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a nice little ridge line where the soil level is about 6 to 8 inches higher up against the cabin. And then there's a solid drop off before it runs that direction. So everything is running downhill that way. It's going to drain out towards the old greenhouse. But we're going to take some shovels and we're going to slope this down so all that runoff from the winter snow shed that comes off the roof right there is going to melt and go that way or go out that way. But it's not going to be allowed to sit on top of that ridge and run back towards the cabin. There's a reason why I allow my friend to come up here and capitalize on my summertime, because I'm actually capitalizing on her and her brains and her wit. I'm trying to dig that out with the flat side of my shovel, and she's coming in with the very edge, and she's doing a lot better and a lot quicker job than I am. Like I said, she's a smart lady. Good to have smart friends. All right, so it is 6 o'clock in the morning. We have 4 hours between now and when the truck driver is supposed to show up with the rock, the first load of rock. So we need to hustle. I'm gonna set everything to a time lapse, and I'll catch you again.
Oh, sorry.
I'll catch you again when we start tacking in the staples, but we need to hustle. If we had only realized that this was the right way to do this earlier on, we wouldn't be in the issue that we are now, where we're sore and tired from carrying these rolls or kicking them uphill or downhill is the easy part. But this is the way it should have been done all along. Leave it to the very end for us to figure that out. And before a single one was dumped, he was already leaving. Man, hard to find good help these days. Oh wait, just kidding. So this is the screened pit run. So there is a lot of sand in here and various size rocks. You're probably looking at this and thinking, I just put dirt on top of dirt. But not really. If you look at the screen, you basically have 3 sections here. The section in the bottom left-hand corner is the screen pit run. At the top of the screen, going down the driveway, that's dirt. And at the right-hand side of the screen, that's soil. Well, the dirt is made up of dirt and soil. There is a difference here. Hear me out on this. The soil contains a lot of organic matter. It will retain a lot of moisture. The dirt contains some organic matter and some sand, and will still retain a lot of moisture. The screen pit run, which is what you're seeing on the screen now, contains a lot of sand, mostly sand, and rock. So between the rocks of various sizes, you can see there's small, medium, larger rocks in here, and all the sand that's in here, that's going to provide a lot of drainage. That's going to prevent the moisture from sitting on top of the soil, sitting on top of the dirt. It's going to allow that moisture to sink down in and keep my driveway from flooding. That's the point of this. But this is not the final product. This is the base layer. On top of this, I will be pitting some clean rock that will be pushed around with the bulldozer there. That will provide additional drainage on top of the dirt that is underneath all of this. Well, it's time to tell my contractor to pound sand. Well, actually, to spread all the pit run that's being delivered. With that being said, I'm going to end today's video. Thanks for watching. Please stay safe and take care, and I'll see you again on the next one.